Hey everybody, welcome back to the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. I'm your host, Gordo Gambles, and welcome back to another full card DFS breakdown, this time for UFC Long Island, a very interesting card for us. And before I jump right into it, let me just say, as always, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, hit the like button down below, and check me out on Twitter, @GamblesGordo. I'll post my full slate of plays there, and you can always DM and ask me any DFS related questions. Now, an early start to this video kind of makes sense for this card because the start time of the entire card is so early in the first place. I don't know why, but let's get into it. First things first, main event, Rodriquez, Brian Ortega, both these guys coming off losses, but I think this is a very, very fun fight. A lot of time I'm looking for excuses to fade the main event just because I know it's going to be so popular, but I'm all over this one. Brian Ortega, we all know him for being an absolute submission ace, but I do think it's a decent shot here against Rodriquez. Yes, Rodriquez in his own right is an amazing DFS player. He put up 81 points in his last time, and that was a loss against Max Holloway. The guy has very, very good output, very good volume. I think that on the feet, it's really his fight to win. However, where this gets interesting is the takedowns. Brian Ortega says he's been working on them, and I believe him. If he's able to secure takedowns near Rodriquez, just like Frankie Edgar and Max Holloway were able to, the fight's his. His submission game, although Yair's never been submitted, is above everybody else's in my opinion. He's one of the top guys in the division, and it's going to be a true tough task for Yair Rodriquez to keep off of him once it gets to the mat. And that's why I think that the huge upside this week is on Brian Ortega, because that takedown plus submission upside, even control time, is a lot larger than the striking upside of Yair Rodriquez. Brian Ortega is super, super tough and durable, so I don't really see that knockdown or finish ability there for Yair Rodriquez, and instead it's going to be up to him to land enough significant strikes to live up to his value, which is definitely possible, but a lot harder to do than, say, Brian Ortega land a few takedowns and score optimal on his own right. I do think the official pick is going to be Brian Ortega by submission. I just love his ground game, and I really do believe him when he says he is working on his takedowns. Therefore, I think if he can implement that, I think it's his fight to lose. Give me Brian Ortega at 8.5K. Speaking of guys with very, very good upside, let's talk about an underdog. Herbert Burns, no, not Gilbert. Herbert Burns, 7.5K. He's facing a guy in Algio this weekend who is known to be tough and durable, but he gives up some very bad positions that he's not going to want to do against Herbert Burns. I say super high ceiling because I think he has the more finishing equity in this fight. Despite the long layoff, Herbert is a very, very talented submission grappler who will definitely be able to take advantage of the poor takedown defense and grappling opportunities that Algio will present. However, it comes at a price because we do know that Burns' cardio and striking isn't the best, and I do think that on the feet is going to be Algio all day. With that being said, what is Burns' win equity? It's probably a first or second round submission. I think that scores very high if you implement the takedown points, control time points, and then that finish there. I think his ceiling is super high. 7.5K, I'm liking the shot on him this weekend. Next up, another dog, Jung. At the time of filming this, he's no longer the betting dog. People really love Jung this weekend, and let me tell you why. He's got grappling upside. He landed 8 takedowns against William Knight. Although Dustin Jacoby isn't William Knight, he showed that he has that facet to his game. I think the better mixed martial artist is going to be Jung this weekend. However, on the feet, Dustin Jacoby is no joke. With that being said, is Dustin Jacoby going to blow Jung out of the water? I don't think so. I think Jung is able to keep his own on the feet. He's got some good boxing chops in his own right, but he has that extra facet to his game in the ground game that's going to allow him to score more than his counterpart Dustin Jacoby. I do think that the ceiling is there for Jung because of that takedown and finishing upside, because he's going up against a kickboxer. I think it's going to be a super fun fight. I think the wrong guy is favored in the DraftKings market because the betting line is good now. So with that being said, give me the dog this weekend. 7.9K I think is way too cheap. He has the ceiling to get you in that optimal lineup. All right, there's a couple dogs. Let's talk about pay-up options number 1 and 2. Pay-up option number 1 is going to be our boy Sumata Jerry, 9.1K. He's going up against Matt Schnell, and if you guys know me, you know that I'm on the under in this fight. I think that Matt Schnell's a guy who loves to bring violence and it can be really hittable. And against the guy Sumata Jerry, being hittable is not what you want to be. Sumata Jerry is a very excellent rangy striker, and I think that his length and his technical ability is going to propel him to a victory this weekend. A lot of fancy words for me just to say, I think he's got a super high ceiling. Schnell has been knocked out before, and I think that on the feet, the striking exchanges belong to Sumata Jerry all week. That knockout is definitely not out of the picture. And in doing so, I think he scores very, very well. Matt Schnell's been finished in the first round 5 times, and I do think that Sumata Jerry has the opportunity to do that again. The ceiling is there. Pay-up option number 1 is going to be Sumata Jerry at 9.1K. Right above him, though, option number 2, and I say number 2 because, well, he's sitting at 9.2. 9.2K, Puno Soriano. He's a guy with insane power. Just look at the size of this guy. Absolute specimen. And I've bet on him in the past, and I'm betting on him again here. Dalcha Lungiambula. Although he may be just a beast in his own right, a very scary guy, I do think he leaves a lot to be desired. A lot of people are talking about his insane takedown upside, but I don't necessarily think that's there. I think Puno has the ability to fend off takedowns. I don't think that Dalcha is Nick Maximoff. I think that on the feet, the power edge, the technical ability edge is going to go to Puno Soriano. Puno definitely has the ability to go out there and get another first round finish. That's not crazy. He's got insane power, insane boxing chops, and the takedown defense to back it up. The only reason it's a bit risky is because we do know that the cardio is definitely not there for Puno Soriano, and he hasn't been able to be the best off his back. With that being said, I don't think it gets there. I think on the feet, Puno's got this. I wouldn't put a finish out of the equation either. Give me Puno Soriano. Give me him at 9.2K. All right, another GPP play. Dwight Grant, the body snatcher. It's a decent GPP spot just because of his win equity. I think that he's really KO or bust here because Stolfus may be a decent minute winner. And one thing that Dwight Grant has is the ability to put people away. Lots of power. I think he's going to have the striking edge against Stolfus, and Stolfus gets hit a lot. So his win equity is that knockout scores very, very well. The reason I like it even more though is going to be due to that ownership. I don't think he's going to recruit that much ownership at 8.9K. That people are going to tend to go towards the people around him, and therefore look past the win equity and upside of Dwight Grant. I do think that Dwight Grant's a decent option this week to be a little different with some good upside on the side. All right, last two fighters I want to talk about are kind of fighters I have a sweet spot for. So I'm going to try my best to leave some bias out of it. However, I've bet on both these guys in the past and will continue to do so because they're absolute money trains for me. First things first, Jack Shore. He's facing Ricky Simón. I am so excited for this fight. I mean, he's averaging 99 DraftKings points in the first place, but he's getting a huge step up in Ricky Simón. Ricky Simón's this guy with insane takedown upside. I mean, he shoots like 9 per 15 minutes. He's one of those crazy grapplers with a lot of opportunity to go out there and shoot nonstop and score really well on DraftKings. But I think Ricky Simón's in for a tough night. Jack Shore seemed to do everything right. The guy has a BJJ black belt, has a huge advantage on the feet. Seen that Jack Shore was able to fend off takedowns before, and I mean, I think that he's a definite minute winner here. So when you give me a guy like Jack Shore at 8.4K, a guy with insane abilities, undefeated prospect with a clear path to victory, it's hard for me to stay away from him. I love the guy. I'm going to be cheering for him. I don't think he finishes out of the equation. However, I do think he's the better minute winner. I think he puts up a 90-point decision win. And then my Canadian boy, the legend, the money man himself, Charles Air Jourdain. I love this guy, man. So fun to watch, insane capabilities, just an electrifying fighter, and I love to back this guy. Great crisp striker with a decent ground game to back. I mean, that one-handed submission win over against Lando Venata, I'll never forget that. He himself is getting a very tough matchup in Shane Burgos. Shane Burgos is fighting in New York. That's never good. He's just another one of these insane output, insane durability strikers who's going to go out there and put a war. Despite me giving credit to the durability of Shane Burgos and how I do think this fight is going to go to decision, it's hard to look past the upside that Charles Jourdain has at that price tag. 7.2 is way too cheap. The guy has skills to pay the bills. I think he's gonna be the more technical striker. More durable? No. It's hard to be more durable than Shane Burgos. How do we know if someone's durable? It's if they get hit in the head a lot, and Shane Burgos gets hit in the head a lot. So I think Charles Jourdain has the ability to go out there, put out a ton of volume, accrue a lot of damage, score a lot of points, and definitely has a better chance to win this fight than the line does entail. 7.2K, I think Charles Jourdain is a very live underdog. All right, let's round out the rest of the slate. Amanda Lemos, Michelle Waterson. Lemos is an absolute fade for me. I don't think she lives up to value. I don't think she gets a finish against Waterson the same way she was able to steamroll through other people she finished. And she doesn't put out enough volume or have the cardio to score well on DraftKings. She's not a really good DraftKings player unless she gets that finish, and it's hard to get a finish against Michelle Waterson. The dog's more live. Michelle Waterson will have a path to victory, but it's just a fight I don't know if I want the most ownership in. I'd much rather go with fighters with a bigger chance to finish than Amanda Lemos. Tate Murphy, I think I'm on the Tate side here, but again, she went out there and put out 105 points in a fight where she did almost everything perfect. It's really hard to top a performance like that, and yet she only scored 105 points. Her fighting style doesn't score that high, in my opinion. A lot of 60-point wins, and for that reason, not one I'm too high on. I do think there's better GPP upside, but I do think Tate's going to be a decent option this week if you're looking for a fighter with a higher floor. Salikov versus Lee. This is one that I'm putting my foot down and saying, I can't touch this one. So many things I don't know about. I got to go back and do the research. I mean, I've done it before, but I can't pick a side confidently here. I do think that Lee may be live at that price tag, but not something I can say confidently. And finally, Ducat versus Penny. I think Ducat's going to be a decent prospect. I think she's got the ability to do well in the UFC. However, I have to sit back and accrue more knowledge. I don't think she's going to necessarily go out there and have the highest ceiling. And I do think there's definitely better fights to target on this card. So not one I'm running to go roster and Emily Ducat. I'm going to see how she does, see what her fighting style is like in the UFC, how it translates, and then go from there. But that does it for the entire card breakdown. UFC Long Island, a very fun card. A very early card, but a very fun card. I'm looking forward to a lot of those bouts. If you guys want to know anything about what I'm playing, check me out on Twitter at GamblesGordo. Best Bets video at CurrentMMA. DFS Breakdown with the Pub Sport Radio guys and MMA Wheezy, DFS by the numbers, and Monk Maddox on Pub Sports Radio. And then the prop drop, as always, with Cage My IQ this week. Make sure to check that out on my channel. The link to all those videos will be in the description down below. So while you go over there to like the video, make sure to check out those videos as well. Once again, subscribe to the channel, show some love, and let's make some money, guys. Ding.